Guys, we're back, and for this week's episode, we are going over UFC Fight Night, Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. And obviously, this is the rematch. I mean, last time Alexa Grasso pulled over the huge upset, winning by submission via face crank. Obviously, this fight is going down in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. And a very interesting thing is that Dana White went
If
all
you
out
don't
on
know,
this fight
now
night.
you know.
I mean, obviously, most of the time, UFC Fight Night takes down at the Apex Arena. Small, very private, but obviously at home for the viewers, essentially doesn't make a difference. But this fight is going down in the T-Mobile, and it is not a pay-per-view bout. So obviously the UFC is going big on this fight night, as they should, because these girls are the real deal. I mean, they are super exciting to watch. Shevchenko, obviously, prior to her losing her title, she was in a 9-fight win streak, literally obliterating the division. She obviously lost to Grasso back in March, so she is obviously wanted a rematch. Come September, she did not want to close out the year without not having a chance to get her title back. She defended her title 7 times in 5 years. So obviously, being the undisputed champ for so long, she automatically activated her rematch clause against Grasso. Grasso, prior to that, was on a 5-fight win streak. I mean, both girls were destined to see each other. And after last fight, I cannot wait to see it again. Obviously, I'm going to be rocking with my girl Valentina, the Bullet Shevchenko. I mean, I'm a huge fan of her. I like her style. I was super surprised that she was able to be submitted her last go around. So I am excited to see her come back, see the improvements that she's made, and really getting to see her stand up game. I believe she was caught a little bit by surprise, but when you defend your title for so long, I mean, it's only a matter of time that, either you're going to have to hang it up or you want to get it back as soon as possible. And obviously, that's what Valentina's doing. She's coming Saturday night. She's going to Las Vegas, and she wants to get her title back. And I believe that is exactly what's going to happen. Redemption. It's it sometimes feels even better to probably win your title back than just defending it when you've defended it for so long, because this shows the true hunger of the fighter. Obviously, the fact that even if this card is not a pay per view, and they're doing it at T-Mobile, they had to obviously stack it with a lot of good fights on the main event. So the co-main event that obviously I'm super excited about is Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. And Big Mouth is coming in big. I mean, the good thing about this fight, it's a very safe fight for both fighters. Win or lose, it doesn't essentially catapult either one of them because, Kevin Holland's the 13th ranked welterweight and Madeline is the 14th. So it's like, okay, even if they would lose to each other, it doesn't necessarily change the trajectory of. They'll probably decide who gets to either fight in the top 10 or who has to take a step back. Essentially, that is what's going to happen. And Holland is obviously on a 2-fight win streak, coming off with a really nice win against Michael Chiesa, but obviously he's been on the out, he's been kind of on the downhill, and obviously he retired after that fight. And he picked up a good win against Santiago Ponzinibbio, who he won by knockout. The exciting thing about Holland is that he's had 6 performance of the night bonuses and 1 fight of the night bonus. And you have Madalena, who's on a 15-fight win streak. The only 2 losses that he's had was in the beginning of his career. So he's been on an absolute tear, just ripping through. He's on a sick win streak in the UFC, and he already has 3 performance of the night and a fight of the night bonus. I mean, there's no doubt how exciting Madalena is. How do I see this fight playing out? Like I said, Madalena showed that he's human his last fight. I mean, he really had to gut it out for the decision. and it really showed his toughness. So I do believe Kevin Holland poses huge threat to Maddalena on anything that he'll do, especially Holland's really long, and even when you get him on the ground, he got like like he like stabs at you with the elbows, throws like little cheap punches, back punches. He's really wicked when it comes to that. Like he just like whips his throws around. He's very long, but obviously he's been when it comes to really really top competition and any type of serious wrestling, he doesn't stand a chance against a really really good wrestler. I mean that is Holland's essentially kryptonite. Maddalena is just on a huge tear, but I do believe that he will not get the win over Holland. I believe just Holland will come in big and he's going to pull off a huge upset. I mean, I know you guys are thinking that I am crazy, but I am telling you, do not sleep on Kevin Holland. He does this. He pulls out this 4-5-6 every once in a while. I mean, I know the odds makers have it differently, and it's not the safe way to go. But I believe Kevin Holland is going to throw out a big win. I don't know if it's going to be by knockout or he's going to win in the judge's decision, but I do believe he will have his hand raised on Saturday night. The next one I want to bring up is obviously the very short-lived, famed, and crazy, not even like hype train, but Raul Rojas Jr., the youngest UFC fighter to ever join, is going against a kid named Terrence Mitchell. A little interesting fact about this fight is obviously both fighters are coming off losses. Rojas Jr. lost to Christian Rodriguez, which he got completely exposed all the way to the 15-minute mark, and he looked really gassed. And the crazy thing is, you would think, he's so young, cardio would be on top. Christian Rodriguez really broke him down and really just showed that a lot of weaknesses. And as big as he is for bantamweight, maybe that weight cut is a little bit too much for him. He didn't look like he can hang. A lot of his fights never really essentially left first, second round. Watching him go to distance, it really doubts me that he can ever compete at 20, do 5 rounds. I mean, I think at 135, he's just too big and, he's young and he's growing. So I do believe he's going against a guy like Terrence Mitchell, who obviously had a loss at his UFC debut to a really dangerous, undefeated fighter who's going against the guy who beat Rahul in their next fight. So that is going to be super exciting. The way I see this fight, I'm gonna have Rojas as a L. I do believe that this kid Mitchell is super fierce. I looked at his background. He was on an absolute tear. He brings a lot of experience, and don't feel safe thinking Rojas is going to pull off this win. I believe this kid is very young. He could have easily hanged out in smaller divisions for a little bit longer, and I think he might have rushed himself a little bit too fast into the UFC. That's just obviously my opinion. So I do believe that Terrence Mitchell is going to pull over the huge upset come Saturday night. The next lightweights that I want to bring up is also, guys, another thing about this card, a lot of these fighters, pretty much all of them, representing Mexico. This is like a straight paying homage to a lot of the Mexican MMA fighters in Las Vegas. I mean, this is sick. And you have the golden boy, Daniel Zellhuber, going against the Spartan, Christian Giagos. I mean, Zellhuber, 13-1, obviously pulled off, showed a really gutsy win against Lando Venata. I mean, Venata is a huge UFC veteran, fought a lot of the top guys in the lightweight division. It's always been came kill or be killed type of mentality. They're giving him obviously another veteran in Giagos, who's coming off a massive win in his last fight by knockout. I mean, he took that guy out. And the thing about Christian, he has a lot of experience against top guys. I mean, obviously, even though he picked up losses to guys like Thiago Moises and Arman Sarukian, I mean, these guys are, you know, either, Moises, big guy, close to the top 15, and obviously Sarukian, he's a top 10 guy. I mean, dude is a monster. So this will be Zellhuber's essentially biggest test going forward. How do I see this going? I see Zellhuber gutting out a nice clean win. I don't think he's going to be able to knock out Christian. I don't see that power fully developed in him yet, but I see the grittiness. He's getting creative. He's using all his weapons, and he's using that huge frame at 6'1" to his advantage. Guys, another fight possible. Fight of the night. Really exciting. This kid is a very, very talented prospect. He's just, developing his skills, and, iron sharpens iron. I believe giving him big veteran guys like this to go against is the perfect way to build up a good prospect when it comes in the UFC. Very similar style to like a boxer. Just don't throw him in with guys who are just like eat him up, other undefeated prospects. Let him build up, let him get a taste of some veteran, a couple guys who've been in the league for a few years, pull off some good wins, show what he's really made of before, like say if they get knocked out very young in their career, can possibly mess them up going forward. Guys, this fight card is going to be stacked. Like I said, I'm still going to be rooting for my girl Valentina. And guys, remember, some of the best way to support us is to check us out on notoriouspools.com. We have amazing merchandise. Take a look at our website. Let us know. This is your host Mitch from Notorious Pools Radio, and we'll see you soon.